G'day guys, and welcome to the Rainbow Six Pro League. Today we are bringing you from the R6ANZ Twitch channel the 7th and 8th place seeding match for the Southeast Asia sub-region of APAC. I am DevMarta, and joining me is Infinite Ewok, aka my whole team said. How are you going, mate?
Oh, going very well today. Very happy to be here. So this is technically still a Season 7 match, and it's the final match for Southeast Asia for Season 7 because there were some complications with how relegations went down. But both these teams are already in the Pro League for Season 8.
So relegations, that's what determines which teams come up from Challenge League into the Pro League, if any do so, and which teams are removed from the Pro League and go to the Challenge League. That's already been done. We've already decided which of the teams for Season 8 are going to be playing in the Pro League in Southeast Asia. Both of these two teams will be participating, and we don't know, however, which one of these teams is going to be in 7th place and which is going to be 8th. So this is essentially a seeding match, which will decide just the placement between these teams. But further than that, I'm actually really interested to see the performance of these two teams because there's quite a Cinderella story around Xavier Esports in general, and I'm very interested to see how they'll come up against Ferox. Why don't you give us a bit of insight into that?
Right, so for those who were paying attention last Friday, on Tuesday, I talked about this a bit, briefly. So what happened was that the Season 7 Pro League qualifiers were going on, as per usual, and you had Script, who are now known as Airwolf, and who finished second in Southeast Asia. So Script and Valor Esports, Valor eventually did not take their place in the Pro League. So these two teams were easily leading the standings for the Pro League qualifiers, and they were doing really well, and it was really fun watching them, really fun casting them. And I thought, yeah, these two teams are great. They're the strongest because they were winning 5 games a day and losing at most 1. And so I thought, okay, this is going to be a cakewalk for them. So then on the last and final day of the qualifiers, Xavier Esports, this random team out of nowhere, turns up. And they clean house with both Valor and Script. I believe it was a 5-2, 5-1.
So after several play days worth of Pro League qualifiers where we had a really dominant performance from two teams in particular, Valor and Script, who eventually actually went to the APAC LAN as second seed from Southeast Asia, there was suddenly a new face amongst the crowd, and that was Xavier Esports really giving these teams a run for their money, but only in the final days of the qualifiers.
Yeah, so they were really a very strong team, and obviously there has been a season's worth of experience that both Ferox, Script, and these guys have gotten in the Pro League, while Xavier have had to play in the Challenger League. So I can't exactly say where Xavier is right now, but I would hazard a guess maybe they're around 3rd, 4th level. So they are really very strong.
It's very exciting because, I mean, this is a team we've seen very, very little of, an absolute underdog. Didn't even manage to compete in Pro League last season, now potentially vying for one of those top spots in the Pro League. And this is the start of their journey. They already have a little bit of a dark horse reputation, but can they turn that into something solid, and can they really bring that up to the next level and give a scare to these teams like Script and like Cryptic that dominate the Southeast Asia region? Who knows, maybe, at the end of Season 8, we're going to be seeing Xavier Esports at the next APAC LAN vying for a spot in the International Pro League finals, and that's very exciting for this team and for the region as a whole.
Yeah, I think Xavier definitely have a very, very bright future ahead of them. And these guys, they actually are playing with only 3 out of 5 of the core team that actually won pretty much every single match in Challenger League. But despite the changes, they look stronger. So just to recap, in the previous game which they played, the relegations against SOTS, these guys brought out a Cavera in more than 2 rounds. In 2 of those rounds, they got 2 interrogations each. So there's 4 in total. And it wasn't like a meme pick of the Cavera. It seemed a very calculated pick, and it worked out very well for them.
Which is something that we obviously, Xavier, not really very prominent pick in the Pro League. It's seen occasionally. We saw a pick from, I believe it was Adam from SK, he managed to get an ace with it on Clubhouse during the last season in the North American Pro League, and that was against Evil Geniuses. And we had something a little bit similar happen on Bank from Cutie from Visonic Darksided in the ANZ Pro League, where he managed to do very well against the team. But the thing about Xavier is she requires your enemy to make so many mistakes. And in order to have a calculated and successful pick of a Xavier, that's incredible, and very, massive props to them. Really just a demonstration of the things that these teams can bring to the table. A lot of people say, oh, if they're not really doing, they're not a well-known team, they're not playing standardly, they're not doing the same thing that everyone else does, they're just not experienced and they're not very good. But this is, really proving that you can bring to the table some things that are quite different, and it can work very successfully.
Right, so we are still, waiting for the go for the match. It should be starting very soon, and we're really excited to bring it because both these teams are pretty good. Unfortunately for Ferox Esports, their season, the previous bracket system in season 7 isn't really a best system. So these guys came up against Cryptic first thing, and they lost that expectedly. And unfortunately, there was only one more game which they played, and they lost that, which meant they were instantly in relegations.
Yes, but I mean, as a result, none of these teams are going to be relegated into the Challenger League. Both of these teams are in the Pro League, and yes, we'll have to wait and see which is going to be the better one. I think that if I had to take bets, I'd be placing my money on Xavier Esports at the moment. The underdog, the dark horse, these are kinds of storylines that I'm a massive fan of. I really like perpetuating bringing new faces into the scene, especially if they can make a name for themselves. I'm really hoping that Xavier can manage that, and I'd like to see it come out. That said, I mean, Ferox, they're the defending Pro League team. They competed in the last season of Pro League, and they've got to stand up for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have a bit more experience, I would say, than Xavier Esports, but we don't know, what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know who they are scrimming, so it's entirely possible that, Ferox got stronger scrim partners, or Xavier got stronger scrim partners. And I believe, both these teams are pretty good. It's hard to say, but if I had to really decide, I would agree with you, Dev, Xavier Esports.
And that's mainly based on my prediction was mainly based off information that you've told me, Ewok. Of course, Infinity Ewok being our, for R6ANZ, our resident Southeast Asia expert, hailing from the region yourself and representing it very well, I'd like to say, in the community, in the ESL admin and the casting community. So you're our resident expert, and I'd very much trust your opinion on it when it comes down to Southeast Asia matches and Southeast Asia teams.
Yeah, definitely. Well, but given the volatility of and to an extent APAC in a whole, sometimes it does get hard to predict. And I have not had historically the best success in predicting match. Like whenever I cast, the regular season with Cthulhu, we are like, okay, these guys are absolutely destroying the other team. This looks to be a 2-0, or it's going to be a 2-1 in favor of this team. But then eventually, it just flips itself on its head.
And just like that, we're going to be heading on straight into the match. So, yes, it took a little while to get there, but we finally made it, didn't we? Quite exciting that we're actually seeing the match coming out now. And just like that, first map is going to be Clubhouse. We didn't really talk in depth about the map banning system, but I'll give you a brief overview. So right here, we're going to be seeing Ferox's map pick of Clubhouse, in which Xavier has chosen to attack first. No real surprises, of course. Clubhouse is currently an attacker-sided map. Then we're going to be heading on to Coastline, which is going to be Xavier's map pick, where Ferox will be attacking. And if we get to it, Bank will be our decider.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Coastline. It is like a black sheep map when it initially came into the map pool. People didn't like to play it. I think the only time we saw it in Season 4 was Penthouse's Ends, and that was a bit of a joke game because neither team was taking it too seriously.
I do recall the Tachanka being played from Ents in that match, so yeah, definitely a mean pick. But nonetheless, we're going to be loading into Clubhouse here. Basement being picked first for Ferox on the defense. No real surprises. A pretty standard lineup on top of that. I'm really keen to see the Legion being employed. I do love myself a little bit of Legion. A fantastic operator, 2-speed, very mobile, but also got a little bit of heft to him. And with that, some fantastic utility, which is not only information gathering, it also slows down the attackers as they push into. And of course, you generate more of those little boom lines over time. So they're going to be very, very useful coming into the late round. On top of that, you've got impact nades, which is going to allow him to do what we like to call the impact grenade trick. As you can see being prepped from Kuro right now, you can actually throw up an impact grenade and hit a little part of the bench inside of kitchen, which will disable any Hibana pellets on that kitchen hatch. Something really nice in order to deny that access to the bomb site.
So you can see, this is a standard trait of Xavier. These guys on this map, they like bringing double hard breaches. They like bringing the thermite, they like bringing the Hibana. And, oh, is that an unreinforced lobby hatch? The bar hatch? I think that was.
I've seen quite a few teams do that before, particularly I believe it is Taboo from the ANZ region. They like to, I believe, use their reinforcers elsewhere. I mean, you don't have a lot of freedom on a site like this where you have so many reinforcers you have to place, but if you can think of somewhere else that you really want to place a reinforce, you have to take it away from somewhere. As we can see, the impact grenade trick is going to be coming out. Not sure whether that managed to actually pop all of the Hibanas. It didn't, so unfortunate there for Zetosin. But it doesn't manage to get the whole field. But nonetheless, I mean, a valiant effort anyhow.
Oh.
Wow.
That Red Sun, he needs to be a bit more, quicker on the draw. He was not ready for that peek from the Jaeger because that should have seen the Jaeger die. That was a very wide peek from the Jaeger.
Yeah, not something you want to be doing. I mean, I feel like most of us have been in the situation before trying to push dirt tunnel, trying to hold dirt tunnel when there's a Blackbeard with an ACOG pushing you onto it. Almost never are you going to win that fight by peeking out. The only way you're going to win this is by getting the player to push into you and using your advantage, using that close range. Nonetheless, as we can see, the attackers have taken full map control. All the 5 defenders are going to be playing on-site in the various positions throughout Blue, Church, Armory, and the dirt tunnel. And as we can see, Xavier are going to be using these line charges and these thatch grenades to disable some utility and start making their way down into the side.
He doesn't know the position of this blue player exactly, and Papazito, he's still trying to contest this Blackbeard. He's already taken over 75 HP worth of damage. It's not a battle I would take right now. Maybe rotate the smoke or the Legion in.
Yeah, and as we can see, Healthcare is going to be trying to find the angle. He actually managed to spot the visor of Rix. That is the mirror on the other side. Doesn't manage to find it, but nonetheless, this dirt push, while it does take some time, it is going to bear fruit by the end of it. Red Sun taking down El Papazito. But Chatron is going to be pushing into blue. He finds one. Meanwhile, there's also another been taken out. It's now all up to Zeta. And just like that, that's the end of the round as well. Zetosin doesn't really manage to last long, managed to find one, but in that position, 1 versus 5, good luck.
Yeah, definitely. And it all came to a head in the last 40 seconds. Xavier really set themselves up. They figure out exactly where every one of the defenders was placed, figure out exactly what kind of setup they are having, and they're like, okay, this is exactly what we're going to do. This person's going to carry the diffuser. If you saw, they actually did a last-second diffuser swap before everyone started dropping down. So these guys really, really had a plan for this, and it worked out beautifully for them.
One by one, every place that Xavier did push, they found the kills. And that was really the end of it. There were no refrags at any point. Whether it was dropping from blue, whether it was pushing down dirt with the Blackbeard, they always found their mark, and they didn't receive almost any damage in the meantime.
Yeah, this is a bit unfortunate for for Ferox though, because their captain, Detrian, he was having technical issues, so he had to have Rick sub in. He did play in Season 7 as a main player, but in between the last game in Season 7 and right now, they have shifted Rix over to the sub role.
Well, nonetheless, we're just going to have to deal with what we've got. Obviously, we apologize for the fact that we did have a match delay, and sometimes these issues are unavoidable, but nonetheless, Ferox going to be attempting to do what Xavier has just did and win a basement attack on Clubhouse, something that's becoming easier and easier with the new operator additions to the game in the current state of Clubhouse. New Clubhouse is coming soon. Things could be a very, very different story, but who knows? We're going to have to wait until next season.
Definitely. This is the last, actually, in Southeast Asia you're going to see this old Clubhouse. Really interested to see, in Southeast Asia especially, and actually pretty much the entirety of APAC, what Cryptic are gonna do with the rework, because this version of Clubhouse, they're really good. But, stuff might change.
And they managed to 5-0 Fnatic, who are the #1 team out of APAC, on Clubhouse at the APAC LAN finals. So, ooh, is that a shield placed inside of dirt? I love that. That's really creative. Gonna give you a little bit more cover while weaving through those narrow, snaky doorways, and also allow you to stilt the attacker's progress a little bit should you decide to default out of there.
That was a late ADS going down from Producer Boom, so interesting choice. And Lycolis is still hidden up there over in Bar, and I think Kura might just be falling victim to it. But Kura is going to be going up. He does suspect something is up. Unfortunately, Lycolis is in Bar, and there we go. He gets one, but instant refrag. Oh, double from Red Sun. He pushes up from the main stairs, so we thought that was a refrag from Ferox's side. No, sir. Xavier were the ones with the strong upper hand in that engagement.
Just like that, 4 versus 2 now. Ferox have a mountain to climb with an Ashe and a Blackbeard. Now, Ashe, a very, very versatile operator. Definitely going to be what they need in order to find these frags. But the Blackbeard, on the other hand, especially if he's going to be flashing himself, is not what they need. Pushing inside of dirt, yes, he can cut off rotations, but he is almost completely barred from pushing into the site, as he will be entering into a crossfire.
And you can see that Self-Flash lost him the frag on Healthcare, the Legion. That was actually a very easy push-up for him. A frag that he would probably secured, if not get traded by Chitsarun. But unfortunately for him, he lost that opportunity.
On top of all this, we still have Ella, who's playing very aggressive on the stairs, likely to find a frag if he doesn't get pushed. As soon as that clock starts ticking down, he will be pushing up. El Papazito is going to be trying to find some shots, and Rix once again not quite fast enough on that reaction. Healthcare takes down El Papazito, and Rix gets taken down by Chatsarin. Just like that, another fairly comfortable round for Xavier, right on the back of that roam.
And that's interesting to say in this version of Clubhouse. We did see actually a very successful visual room in North America. There was SK Gaming, Adam, who's now an OB. He hid himself inside the small closet after impacting some boxes, and he came out of there within like and cleaned up the entire team by himself.
In fact, I believe that position now is known as Adam's spot. That little spot in the corner where you can impact grenade your way into the boxes, essentially. Yeah, known as Adam's spot now. I did earlier say that was on Xavier. I believe I was incorrect, and I think you may be right, it was on Vigil. Nonetheless, the two pretty much staple roamers at this point in the meta. Oh, okay, that's not correct. Vigil definitely a staple roamer, Xavier not a staple roamer, but what I mean to say is that if there is any operator whose utility is specifically meant for roaming, it would be those two.
Oh, definitely, I do agree. And the next map that we'll be playing, Coastline, is the first map that Xavier played last week on Tuesday. Not really last week, on Tuesday against Sound of the Silencing. And that's where they brought out Caveira.
Sound of the Silencing. I wonder if darkness is their friend. Nonetheless, as we can see, it's going to be Ferox attempting this defense once again. Very much the same lineup as last time. Those GSG9 brothers, Jaeger and Bandit, the Mirror Smoke, the two, the beautiful couple, the beautiful anchoring couple, and of course that Legion, which I praised last time, told you is going to be trying to get a roam off on the central stairs, heading upstairs. Now, the issue with this is only 2:35. We're only 30 seconds into the round. That means that it's unlikely Xavier will have completely cleared and droned all of this area upstairs, which means that they're going to do it at some point in the next 2.5 minutes. The sooner the better, and when they do that, it's likely that Toljan is going to be caught off guard. That said, it's up to Xavier to actually take the initiative, drone, and push out that player, because if they don't, it's going to bite them in the bud.
That is true. I mean, you would expect that, but this is also, once again, Clubhouse. If you have someone just holding the main stairs, then it becomes very difficult for that roamer to rotate back onto site, because there's only one staircase that connects all 3 floors. So that is one problem that this version of Clubhouse had. It's been fixed in the new one, but that is why usually roams don't work.
Yes.
unless you really can time it right.
Quite exciting to think that this is probably one of the last times I'm going to be casting this version of Clubhouse. I guess we should make the most of it while we can. This blue tunnel, which is in its current state very much a choke point. There's only one avenue in order to push down it, and that is through Oil Pit. You can't really get a crossfire like in the new Clubhouse, and well, that's going to be the line attempting to push onto the Jaeger. Kura still has control of this dirt, but Zitosin is going to find health here. Hibana has gone down. I should hope you have nailed all of those hatches.
Well, it did look like he did, but this is the kind of play I wanted from Ferox in the previous defensive round. Kura with the smoke shotgun fighting that Blackbeard or Red Sun. Now, Red Sun is going to have to peek because Kura can just play the time. And once he peeks, he's going to face the wrath of that M5 shotgun.
Now, there's a risk of him getting flashed, and at this point, he can't move. He's being lioned. He's been flashed again. His smoke babe is the only thing protecting him right now, and Red Sun does not want to push into it because of the barbed wire there as well. That shotgun is going to be a fantastic tool for him. Producer is going to find one, but an immediate refrag from Rix. Kura does find Red Sun with the shotgun. Shotgun versus DMR. Shotgun, well, it's a bit 50-50, but Shotgun is going to win it in the end. Rix is also going to find Charitson, and now it's all up to Light Colas, who's going to get taken down from that bandit on the roam.
So Tolji's roam did come good eventually in the end, but a lot of it is, due to the fact that Xavier just ran out of men.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's actually a little bit of a similar story to what we saw earlier when Xavier were on their defense, and every time that every time the attackers tried to push something, they were just losing their fights. So we saw in Dirt, the Blackbeard lost that fight. A little bit of it, it's impressive because it's an adaptation to what we saw last time. When that round played out before, when Xavier were attacking, Blackbeard found the frag onto the Jaeger and therefore took control of Dirt Tunnel. When the Thatcher dropped into blue, he managed to find the frag there and work. Whereas every time that Xavier on their attack just then managed to find a frag, for example, the line pushing into blue, there was a refrag. Rix on the mirror managed to get 2 in that position. The smoke managed to defend Dirt Tunnel from the Blackbeard. And, really after that, it was only the one player, the Thermite, above the kitchen hatch, and they hadn't even cleared out the roam, which is just unacceptable on this version of Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's you have to at least drone it out. It's the minimum you can do. It doesn't take too much time, and if you're really that worried about roam, you can bring a Jackal, although which teams have done, substituting the Buck for the Jackal, because Jackal does have a pretty decent destructive sidearm shotgun.
Yeah, namely, I would say Canadian from Evil Geniuses has been a massive proponent of that Jackal on this map. Now, and a lot of teams might say, oh, well, Jackal is a roam hunting utility. Roaming on Clubhouse is so difficult if you just play it smart with your drones and such. So why would we bring an anti-roam utility when it's so easy to cancel out the roam otherwise? And the answer is efficiency. Yes, it can be very easy to mitigate a roam on the downstairs bomb side of Clubhouse, but it takes time and it takes effort and it takes droning. And these teams are demonstrating that they're not doing all that, so why not bring the Jackal? It makes it much more efficient, and you still have some secondary utility in that shotgun destruction through the floor.
Yeah, I do like the decision that Canadian did, and it worked out often. The only downside to it is that you lose the 2 frag grenades that you get on the Buck or the Sledge.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But nonetheless, heading on into this round, we have Ferox are going to be going for their attack. Oh, that's not acceptable.
No, that's not.
That was a bit of a missed Thatcher grenade. That's unfortunate. A little bit of wasted utility there, and a little bit of wasted HP on Zitosin of the Thermite. Xavier obviously defending bar and stock, which is the secondary bomb site for most teams on this map, and bringing that Glaz. Interesting to see that the Glaz, oh no, he managed to see just enough pixels of poor Red Sun, and that is so much plant denial in that Yokai drone off the board already. Smokes are going to be coming out. Only a minute 30 into the game. Are we going to be seeing a push in from the attackers already? The Yin Candelas are going to make an opening for Kura, who pushes into the site. Rix finds one as well with the OTS, but Producer a massive double. Kura and Zitosin have been taken down. It's a 2 versus 3. Xavier is still at a disadvantage, but now Ferox do have to retake the site.
Unfortunately, that was not something that Xavier were gonna have an easy time to defend, because they were down man count. One of the players was in the other bomb site entirely. They had smokes, they had glass, flashbangs, a lot of utilities still left on the attackers. And there you have it, 2-2, all tied up.
A great entry from the attackers there with those Yin Candelas, opening up the holes with the Thermite and even using the Glass as well. But then on top of that, Producer, a big double kill. That could have turned around the consequences of that round with that rotation. I believe it was through the kitchen, managed to rotate into stock, getting a double kill. But in the end, him and his teammate didn't manage to have what it took to pull off a 2 versus 5.
Yeah, definitely. But, the great thing that Ferox did not do was panic or take too long to get stock of the situation. Usually you have a lot of teams who are not that great and they are like, oh no, we just lost 2 members, the diffuser got dropped inside, and these guys suddenly went. That kind of thing did not happen with Ferox, and that is a testament to their experience.
I guess you could say in a situation like that, it's important to take stock.
Come on, guys.
I've been saving that one for a while, more than I'd like to care to admit, but nonetheless, stock and buy is going to be taken once again for the defenders, so we've seen Xavier completely fail to defend it. Our Ferox going to be able to do one better. Very similar lineup. There's no castle this time. But we are, was it a castle or a pulse? I don't quite remember. But we are going to be seeing the Echo, which in my eyes is one of the most important points for plant denial on this site. But on top of that, the Echo drone gains you information. It's mobile. You can move it from one bomb site to the other. And on top of that, you've got the ACOG. Now, ACOGs are fantastic on Clubhouse when it comes to contesting these long angles. And there are many long angles on this bomb site in particular. You can get long angles into stock all the way from near pool table and vice versa, which is very, very useful coming into an attack on this bomb site.
Look at how both these teams are defending and taking this bomb site, though. They are doing the exact same garage hold, echo hold. They are also bringing the glass. The only difference is this Buck right here, who's going to take control of cash room and then start opening up the floor above stock room. That's the only difference between these two guys.
Yeah, but at the moment they haven't pushed out the Jaeger of El Papazito. The drones are likely about to find him. He's aware of it. And now he's, well, assuming that the Buck doesn't just mindlessly drop this hatch, this Jaeger should be a dead man. Fantastic placement from Lycolis. Lycolis. Oh, I know, El Papazito! Chatsaturn, you can't just try and take that as a 1v1, but Healthcare is going to refrag. However, a fantastic placement, a crossfire from both Healthcare and Lycolis, are going to be in a position to catch the rotation.
That was a 3-way crossfire. So you had Healthcare over here, you had Lycolis in the stairs, and then you had Chitsaru making the initial aggressive push. So unfortunately, it was the Buck making that push, which means they're not going to be able to get that roof of the stockroom opened up.
Oh, wow. Healthcare with the suppressed OTS is going to find Zatosin. That's so much plant denial off the board. The Smoku wasn't even playing all the way inside of stock. He wasn't safe. He got taken out from the north side doorway. Now, that Buck has been taken down, but like you said, that Buck had the purpose of opening up the floor of cash, and if there's no one playing inside stock, then it doesn't so much matter that you don't have that Buck there in a position. We still have the Ying that we can clear out anywhere we wish to enter, and we have the Lion as well, which can prevent these rotations.
Oh, Rix might be able to get the frag on Healthcare right here. No, what is he doing? What do you wait?
He missed the frag, but it doesn't matter. He takes down Healthcare nonetheless. Kira has been completely blinded, and Red Sun... Oh, Rix finds another one? How do you manage that, Rix, with the 3k? There's only one more left of the attackers. It's just the Lion trying to hold this. He's in the lobby. He's been spotted out. He's run into a Legion Mine as well. Is Rix going to clean this one up as well? Kura finds him, and Rix is going to finish off that diffuser. And what a great retake from, I would say, from Ferox, but no, it was from Rix.
Yeah, that was almost all Rix, and to be honest, I'm still not sure the reason exactly why he waited to pass by, but it doesn't matter because it worked out beautifully for him.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of it was a little bit of a precarious flank spot. We saw the Glaz's feet pass by that doorway. A little bit surprised that he didn't make his move then, but it didn't matter because when he popped open that doorway, the Glaz re-peeked it, and well, Rick's going to win that gunfight. Not only is he going to win that gunfight, he's going to win the next two as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually was surprised because Rix had been taken down to about 50 or so HP already by the time he got into stock and got into the fight with the Ying. and he still won that. He just got every single headshot.
Just like that, we have seen Xavier defend upstairs now, which means it's time for them to retake downstairs. So Producer is going to be on the Jaeger, very much a similar setup to what we saw last time. Last time they were fairly confident in defending this one. If I recall correctly, they've actually successfully managed to defend this site both of the times that they've taken it. Am I missing something? I feel like they won an attack, didn't they? So perhaps they have lost one of the sites here as well. Nonetheless, looking pretty strong on this bomb site. I'm expecting this will probably go back to Xavier and we're going to see a 3-3, but nonetheless, Ferox have been improving, and just look at what they've brought along Ewok. They brought that Jackal that we recommended earlier.
Oh, looks like...
And that Jackal is going to be trying to push into the kitchen. He's got that shotgun which can open up the floor and push anyone out of Armory, but his main goal really should be just trying to mitigate this roam game. It's a little bit worrying at the moment that Lycolis is allowed to play upstairs all the way in here, and these drones aren't going to be enough to flush him out. They're going to have to play... Oh, no, Healthcare's going to get the first kill. Rix, who had played such a fantastic Legion last game, is going to have a really good opening... poor opening, as he gets taken down himself by the enemy's Legion. Now, the Ferox players are still concerned about Xavier's Lycolis playing upstairs. They're going to drone him out, but... Well, what's a drone going to do against Lycolis? However, that Jackal scan is going to push him out. Whoever the attacker who is pushing this is going to be at a disadvantage in this gunfight, but it doesn't matter. How is that a trade? I didn't even see Lycolis manage to land those shots, but nonetheless, yes, I'd say that's a... You got to do what you got to do. Yes, we've lost the Jackal tracking ability, we've lost the shotgun, and we've lost the 2 smokes that he did have. We finally have mitigated that round game. As for Xavier, they've got to be feeling happy that they managed to do a little bit more damage before Lycolis fell.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that they took down Kura, the Jackal. So that's the soft destruction somewhat gone, as well as the roam clear potential. So yeah, they lost the Vigil, but as you said, it's not really that much of a big deal. They should be happy with this.
Xavier are looking very strong coming into the rest of this. Ferox now, of course, as we mentioned earlier, they are missing their IGL, which is going to be incredibly damaging in situations like this. This is when you have to decide, alright, we're in a 3 versus 4, we're at a disadvantage. However, we have map control now, we have to just decide how to make this push. This is when you need your IGL to make those calls. Tolji is going to be doing some work by disabling the mirror that's facing into blue. That's going to help Ferox push that side much more effectively, and it looks like we're probably going to see a kitchen drop. We are. The first player falls down, but gets taken out. That's Zetosin falling to healthcare. Tolji is also pushing down. He gets into blue, and he takes down Chatsarin, but he's the last one remaining now as El Papazito is taken down by Red Sun. Healthcare finds another one from within Dirt Tunnel. Fantastic play game for the Vigil in that, for the Legion in that round, and well, Xavier having another successful defense of the basement.
Definitely looks like both these teams are pretty evenly matched, but you know, as you said, Ditrian isn't here, the IGL for Ferox, so maybe you would say that Ferox would actually have slight upper hand, but look at the fragging, very even on Xavier's side, 6-2-4-4-4. Very nicely done.
Pardon me, I think I was incorrect there. Was it the IGL for Xavier who was missing, is it?
No, sorry, the IGL for Ferox.
Okay, so I was correct. There you go. Yeah, so I definitely would attribute part of Ferox's lack of ability to make that quick decision at the end in order to push, but as said, props to them. They had a nice idea, pushing 1 down kitchen. In fact, I believe it was 2 down kitchen and 1 through blue. They managed to do a little bit of work from it, but in the end, they were outnumbered, and they were essentially just every time they would get a kill, they would get refragged, so it didn't really matter by the end of it.
Now the question is, who is going to be the one to pull away with those 2-round wins, or is this going to be going to overtime? Because right now, at the start, we had Xavier go up 2 rounds, and then Ferox struck back with 3 of their own. So really, I can't tell who's going to be having the upper hand eventually.
This isn't really like a direct trade back and forth, 1-for-1-for-1. These teams aren't both winning and losing on the same bomb sites. Of course, we saw Ferox successfully defend bar and Xavier unsuccessfully defend bar. And, you know, we've seen some other results as well. Xavier have been more proficient in defending the basement, whereas Ferox have made some errors on that one. So I'm not going to say that it's going to be, you know, clear cut 1-1-1-1. There's definitely a potential for this to go into 5-3. It's going to depend who takes this next round. In my opinion, if Ferox can be comfortable taking this round and managing to win this attack, which is entirely plausible, then we're going to be seeing Xavier defending the bar, and I think Ferox is going to win that one. So Xavier really got to be thinking right now, alright, we have to win this attack, because that's just the next step in order to make this thing real.
Now, Tolji, the bandit, he's in the same position as he was the last time. Now, the last time Xavier ran out of mana, it was a 1v4 situation, and Tolji got the final frag on Lycolis, the Thermite. So let us see what happens this time. Are Xavier going to be able to hold their own with the side players? Because Tolji, to be honest, was not really a factor in the final equation, except for the technical fact that he got the final kill.
Yeah, but I mean, by that point, it was Ferox had essentially won the round anyway when Tolji got the final kill. Now, Xavier have to have a more effective and efficient take. Last time, they weren't successful in pushing down dirt. This time, they have 2 players there. Now, I really don't think this is going to make the difference. If that smoke is using the shotgun, it's going to be very quick to take down all of these players. As soon as he's using the shotgun, it's, you know, bang, one dead, bang, another dead. Just like that, though, Kura the Smoke, who has been taken down, that was Lycolis. But Tolji on the roam is managing to take the first one down for his side. 1-1 at the moment, but Lycolis has been taken very dangerously low.
Drone activated.
Now, there is 1 minute left in the round, so they could go for a reset, but it probably is not very well advised.
At this point, you don't have enough time.
Yeah, you would waste too much, but they are going for the reset.
Well, that wasted about 10 seconds, 20 seconds. The risk now is that they don't necessarily have guaranteed that they still have control of dirt tunnel. As you can see, Zitosin has pushed up, and all of that ground that they took by taking out the smoke has now been sacrificed just for an extra 50 HP on the Thermite. In my eyes, that's not worth it. When you're pushing up right here, you're going to be pushing into not only barbed wire, but also those extra lesion mines that have been pushed on here by Zitosin. At this point, dirt tunnel control is almost as good as gone. Zitosin's still just allowed to stand here. He's flashed, but it doesn't matter. 20 seconds. Red Sun is going to find that frag, putting it into a 4 versus 3, but 15 seconds, this is still favoring the defenders. This is going to have to be an absolute blitz of a push from Xavier if they want to take this round. 1-for-1 trade goes out, 8 seconds to go. Rix is looking to hold it, but Producer takes him down as well. There's only 1 defender left, and he's on the flank from blue. The plant is going down. All Tolji has to do is deny this plant. He sees one at the main stairs, and Lycolis is going to be the one to clean him up from the main stairs. That was an absolute nail-biter, but by the end of it, Xavier managed to scrape by the skin of their teeth.
Wow, that was a great shot from Lycolis, because it was a very narrow angle that he was using to fight against the bandit. And if the bandit, you know, 1 more second had passed, he would have gotten the frag on the planter.
Absolutely. I mean, that kill was incredibly necessary in order to take that one. It was a 2 versus 1, plants going down, which essentially means it's a 1 versus 1. Where there's 1 attacker who's not planting and 1 defender, and all the defender has to do when it's 0 seconds on the clock is kill the person who's planting. Instant win for his team. By the end of it, though, he didn't manage to get there because Lycolis' cover was just what it needed to be. When he missed the first shots as Tolji crossed through the doorway, I was really concerned. I thought Tolji was going to deny that round from Xavier, but Lycolis, great game sense, pre-firing through the wall, managed to clean it up. And this is like I was saying earlier, Xavier are going to have to reattempt this bar and stockroom bomb site. Last time, to be fair, they got fairly obliterated on this site. It's going to have to take something quite impressive in order for them to do a good job of it this time. Perfectly plausible that we could see overtime. The real question is, are Xavier going to be able to have the necessary adaptations implemented in order to take the win here? As talking about what they are changing up, they brought the Rook in substitution for, I believe it was a Pulse or a Castle that they had last time.
Yeah, it was a Castle the last time. Producer was playing that. Instead, he is going on the Rook, and I believe they have brought the Valkyrie in place of the Echo, who, you know, the Echo unfortunately was taken down very easily by Rix.
That's right, and we're seeing, as for the attackers, a very similar lineup. The Glaz, the Ying still coming out. Interesting that Ying's still getting a lot of play despite losing the smoke grenades. Her ability is just so adept at taking control of rooms. It's like a flashbang, but it's a guarantee. Anyone who's playing within, that 5-meter radius is going to get flashed. And if it's a very small room, then that 5-meter radius can actually take up the entire room. And that's why it's fantastic for entering into rooms like lounge and stock.
That's correct. And even if you're not fully flashed, you do lose your sense of sound for a few seconds. And, if you cannot hear the person, suppose, dropping from a hatch or pushing in from between barbed wire, then that is quite a bit of a big disadvantage for you.
Ferox are going to be the first ones to attempt a different style of push by going for the strip take. Zatosin's going to land just a few shots onto Producer, that's the Rook, but that 3 armor is going to be fairly safely intact. We also saw Lycolis playing inside of stock, trying to find angles towards the Ash, who is holding that kitchen door rotate. But so far, no frags have been exchanged. The teams are just playing a little bit safe. Top floor control still hasn't been taken for the attackers, however, which means if the hatch is open, then we're going to have Valkyrie being able to deny it from up there. But Red Sun on the defenders is going to find the first frag. It's not looking too great for Ferox at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately. But to their credit, Producer is taken down pretty low. They can probably get one bullet into him, and that will down him at the very least, take him out of the equation. And it's just 1 minute left, so it's going to be unlikely that he would get picked up if he does get down. However, Tarun does get the second frag of the round onto Rix, but Papazito is there to trade it back. It's a 4v3, 55 seconds left to go. There we go. Producer goes down as well. Lycolis does trade back onto Tolji, though. 3v2, and that's another kill. Healthcare takes down Zitosin, and it's all over on this map. Red Sun takes down Papazito, and that is a 5-3 victory for Xavier Esports.
I mean, it was back and forth, like we said, but Xavier, by the end of it, did manage to make the necessary adaptations in order to take the bar defense. Putting themselves onto match point and closing it out at 5-3 is massive commendations to them on that performance. Now, of course, we're going to be heading on to the next map just shortly, but that was Ferox's map pick of Clubhouse. So having Xavier win that was just a little bit of an upset, I guess you could say. We did put our money on Xavier to take the W at the end of today, but heading on to Coastline, which Xavier have obviously taken for their map pick, it's looking to be like this is going to be even more cemented a Xavier win.
Yeah, now one thing that I wanted to note earlier, but I forgot to mention it, was that last Friday, when Ferox played their relegation match against INE, which is I Nation Esports, the first map pick was again Clubhouse. So it could be just that Xavier analyzed that VOD, the very, very recent VOD, and they're like, okay, so this is what Ferox likes to do, and we're going to go ahead and counter them. Yeah. But then as I said, the second map pick, Coastline, was also played on Tuesday by Xavier.
So who do you think that Coastline is going to favor?
Well, I would say Xavier a bit, because they were, they brought out a Cav and made it work. That was really well done. But also thing that, the Kickstar likes to say, he says that map picks at this level often are counterbats. So you end up playing or picking maps that aren't exactly your strongest, but more so that they're not your opponent's strongest. And that sometimes results in both the teams losing their own map pick.
Yeah, it could go either way at this point, but as just an observation generally of how these teams are functioning, I don't think I'm safe to say that Xavier is the superior team just yet. These teams are both playing very well. They're both making mistakes, and they're both making poor decisions, not droning, taking too long for their executes. It's both backwards and forwards, right? So I can't really say clear cut that one team is the superior side and that one team should take this match. But that said, Xavier having one map up, it's one step closer.
Yeah, I would like to see Xavier get the win eventually, but it's always very exciting to see every match go, because that is somewhat of a neutral ground for both the teams. although you could say that, the final team, the team that picks the map on their own, which is in this case Xavier, who picked Coastline, they are the ones who get to dictate the map pick a bit, because how the map pick works is eventually at the end you will have the team that was banning the map second. They will have the choice to ban one map and make the other map the decider. So these guys chose to bring Coastline as a second map and make Bank the decider.
Yes, and that's something that I think not a lot of people talk about very often. So when you're in the map veto process, the person who gets the last ban has essentially 3 maps before them. They get to choose which of those 3 maps they don't want to play at all. So for example, if, let's say, Oregon was one of the ones that had been left in there, and we know that Xavier have this map pick, and they get to choose between Oregon, Coastline, and Bank. And Ferox are very known for being on Oregon. This is all hypothetical. I'm not saying this is actually the case, but let's say for hypothetical sake, Ferox is very strong on Oregon. Xavier can easily say, look, we don't want to play Ferox on Oregon at all. We're just going to ban that, and we know that we like Coastline more than we like Bank, so we're going to start on Coastline, and then if we get to it, we're happy on Bank, we're happier than we would be on Oregon, and that's that.
Indeed, very, very good explanation of that, Dev. But now we will be getting back into the game's second map of the day, Coastline. Now this was the second map pick again, last game for Xavier Esports, just like Clubhouse was the first map pick for Ferox. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how these teams interpret this map. It's something we've seen quite a lot, particularly in the ANZ Pro League region. And is this Capcan going to get locked in? I'd love to see it. It's not every day that we get to see Capcan in Pro League. I have a friend who I play with quite often who's a massive proponent of Capcan, but we don't get to see him a lot in the Pro League. Now, of course, he has received several buffs and I guess you could say rework/changes recently just in the game in general. I would say in the last few months. I'm not saying it was last week or anything like that, but of course he was changed to a 2-speed 2-armor operator instead of being a 3-armor 1-speed operator. And of course, he was given impact grenades instead of barbed wire. And on top of that, he was also a little bit of a rework done to his entry denial devices, giving him 5 of them instead of the previous 3, and making it so each of them do 60 damage, 60 base damage, that is. Essentially that means it's no longer an instant kill. However, it's a lot harder to see as well because they've removed the laser that goes across the doorways.
Dev, if you should have been here for the Xavier match on Tuesday, because look at what Chetsarum is doing. They have healthcare here on the Echo with the ACOG, and he's going to use that pixel angle behind the deployable shield to hit anyone trying to vault in through the VIP big window, and they used it to incredible effect on Tuesday against SOTS, and it worked out every single time. They just couldn't fight it.
So I'd love to see that from Healthcare's perspective. Hopefully we'll get to see it, but essentially the angle that Infinite Ewok is describing is from the doorway into theatre, the hallway doorway. As you could see, there was a mirror and a deployable shield. Now that deployable shield is going to allow Healthcare with the ACOG to lean and carry this very pixel angle. As you can see, he even has the mirror as well to use. So it's going to be very difficult to body shot Healthcare here, and he has an angle all the way into VIP onto the exterior window. Chetsaran is trying to place that shield so that it enables that pixel peek, but no! Are they going to get punished for it? Chetsaran can't even attempt to re-peek that now. They needed to reinforce that wall. Why did they not reinforce that second wall? Now Healthcare is going to take some damage. Chetsaran's going to get a reset, but what you were commending them for, Infian, is now just backfiring against them.
Yeah, they really messed it up in the prep phase, you have to say, because they did not get it right the first time, they did not get it right the second time, and then when they tried it for the third time, it just backfired really, really hard. They should have, either abandoned the attempt or, tried just stuck with it.
Well, you don't essentially need that pixel peek. Lycolis really wants to go for a run out, but Tolji catches him on drone and takes off his head.
That was a bit of a confusing decision from Lycolis because jump out. Somehow the game didn't register it for some reason perhaps, and he couldn't vault out to get the kill on the Hibana. We would have been probably killed anyway.
So Healthcare, while he has lost the pixel angle between the shield, he's also lost his mirror. In fact, both of the defensive mirrors have been popped, but what Healthcare now has is a very tight angle through that open mirror that he could use if he so wished. However, he was a bit scared as Ferox were pushing on through that and using that angle against him. He decided to default off it. Rix is the one who's holding that angle, and now Kura has droned out Red Sun on the roam. It's Red Sun and Producer who are going to be roaming currently. Can they deal some damage?
Oh, that was a very, very good shot from Kura. Peeked out, and you can see here as we were talking about the non-lethal Kapkan traps. So it's 50 damage, and there we go. Producer on the roam, coming back to side, gets El Papacito as well. Now he's going to be pushed, it seems, by another attacker to his left. Nope, he's not. The attacker decides not to, but Tolji gets 2 kills, and that's a 4v1. Producer has nothing to do.
That was just a 4K from Tolji. Thermite frag, mate. You want to talk about, I've been playing a bit of Thermite recently and, getting a bit frustrated. Oh, his gun's not, the highest fire rate. It's got some decent damage, but, the recoil's all right, but it's nothing like, the R4C or something like that. But, well, Tolji says doesn't matter. He's going to get a 4K right into the defenders' heads. Now, we mentioned the Kapkan earlier. I just like to talk about his gadget. So how it works, like you said, it's non-lethal. In that scenario, it did 50 damage against the Xavier. Now, that's because Xavier is a 2 armor operator. So by default, I think it's about 60 damage to a 1 armor operator, 3-speed operator, but your armor actually now helps you resist the explosive damage from those EDDs, which actually means that now 3 armor 1-speed attackers, including shields, are going to be the ones who have the most resistance to Kapkan traps, and especially they're going to be the ones who can now, the only ones who can walk through 2 Kapkan traps and survive.
Indeed, at the very least, for every other operator, you'll be getting it down. And on shields, you can actually survive 3 if you are facing the Kapkan trap when you walk through the...
Yes, of course.
The tripwire, yeah.
The Kapkan trap explosive device itself is a directional explosive. So even though I'm not sure if this has been patched, but it used to be the case that if the Kapkan trap was placed on a double doorway, if you walk past on the furthest side of the doorway from the Kapkan trap, you actually take less damage than sitting up right next to it. But nonetheless, you can use your shields, particularly your Montaigne, in order to block those Kapkan traps, which is, fairly situational. It's not like we see Kapkan and Montaigne all the time, but it's a nice little trick to have up your sleeve.
Yeah, in fact, I think Montaignes with full shield extension take barely 5-10 HP of damage, even when walking through a Kapkan trap, facing it, assuming they're doing that.
So, as for Xavier's attack now, Ferox are going to be defending the exact same bomb site of Penthouse and Theatre. Interesting shield placement here. It looks like we've seen Ferox doing a very similar... I'm trying to describe the bomb site here, but, Xavier's just going crazy. Healthcare with the Glad's going to take down Kura. The Valkyrie getting taken down very early from this angle on top of the garage roof. Just looking for the bananas.
Yeah. This is exactly the same thing that Healthcare was doing on Tuesday. He goes up there, looks in, holds the angle, maybe gets a few frags, and then waits for his rest of the team to do something, and then eventually joins them. And look at that, it's worked out really well for him. 1 minute gone, and he's already got a frag, and that's a Valkyrie.
Rix is here on the roam, but the question is he going to be able to actually disrupt any of the attackers who are pushing? The Glaz of Healthcare is going to be dropping into bathroom, a very exposed position, but there's no smoke on the defending side in order to gas him out. El Papacito is going to get one. Toji is going to get very low and actually taken out on the mirror. Plant's going to go down. Healthcare now inside of the bathroom. He's got smoke coverage. It's all up to El Papacito. He's gotten the one, but Healthcare, what an amazing shot. All the way into VIP, takes him down, and that's the round for Xavier.
Nice 3K from Healthcare, and both rounds ended in a 1v4 situation.
Yeah, true, actually. It's been very dominant attack rounds here on Coastline, even more so than we had on Clubhouse. I think, in my eyes, it's because Clubhouse, it was up to the teams to execute, have something that would, cover all the bases, drop down the hatches, with your Ying, etc., find all the picks and have an efficient and cohesive execute. Now, on this site, it's not so much the execute that's really making the difference, it's just slowly picking apart the defense, whether it was on not in the previous round, but the one before that, where it was the fact that there was a misplaced deployable shield, completely just put a gaping hole in the defense. As for that round, it was just picks being allowed to be taken 1 for 1, and then no real denial on the defending on the side of the defenders. By the end of it, the Glaz actually opening up that soft wall underneath the mirror was a fantastic play, and in conjunction with the line, really helped. Really well played, prevented that mirror from denying the plan, and actually got the kill on it as well.
Now, this was a failing for Xavier Esports in the previous round. Sarum seems to be having trouble with it again. I'm not sure whether he's got it this time. He seems to think so, but it seems that last time it was Healthcare who told him, hey, do it again. But it seems that he is happy with it this time, so let's see if it works out like it did against SOTS.
So I don't know about you, but if it was me coming into Coastline and seeing all of these very, very dominant attacker-sided wins.
Oh yes, it's worked.
He's got the angle set up perfectly this time. So this is the angle that we were talking about earlier. Very nice pixel peek, but that said, Ferox are completely aware of it, and they're going to be trying to use it to their advantage as well. So, I mean, and also on top of that, these mirrors were popped last time by a Twitch drone. If Healthcare is watching this angle, it's not likely he's going to see or hear a Twitch drone coming up to him. So that's another thing he's going to have to worry about. But as I was saying earlier, if I was in this situation where the attackers were winning so heavy-handedly, time and time again, I would be considering taking one of the alternative bomb sites, especially Kitchen. Now, it's a much more viable bomb site than a lot of people think. Nonetheless, Red Sun's going to be the first one to find a kill.
Yeah, I mean, Kitchen is definitely underrated bomb site, and I think we saw in the Invitational Grand Finals, Penta and EG used it. Either one of the teams or both of them used it as a secondary bomb site, but you can see here, Papa's by Colas, and is he going to be hacking the camps? I do believe he can. Yes, he is.
So this is something that I would say is typically not the primary use of Dockerby. In my opinion, the most useful utility from Dockerby is the ability... Oh, is he going to find this kill? He's going to try and do a little bit of a bolo peek, leaning back and forth. On our screen, that's hardly even a pixel visible, and the attackers are even trying to using it themselves.
Seems to be hitting the shield for some reason, despite his crosshair being off the shield. I'm not sure whether that's just a visual desync or something else.
Nonetheless, the oh my gosh!
What? No way!
Rick's an absolutely fantastic shot there. ACOG versus ACOG, but Healthcare, the angle he set up for himself, isn't going to pay off once again. Meanwhile, we have Chetsarum is going to be retaking that spot because he's been dealt heavily damage from below. This Dockerby is going to be holding off the angle. Producer is entirely aware. Cura is also going to be down below, and Rix is also going to get some serious damage on site, even injuring the mirror. It's up to the Legion and the Vigil to try and retake this right now, but Ferox are in such a strong position to take this round win. Oh!
There you go.
What a shot there from Tolji. Another headshot with the 5.56. It's all up to Producer. He's getting Dockerby scanned right now, and how did you not hear that, El Papazito? He is going to get taken down. Is this going to be a free revive? This can't be allowed to happen. No, Rix is going to take him down. That's the double for him, and well, fantastic job overall. Rix in particular in that round, managing to nail the shot onto that pixel peak. Very, very good stuff.
Now, I would like to note that Producer on that Vigil, he did make a significant mistake in that he just kept on holding that angle onto the stairs and waiting and waiting and waiting while his team fell apart. The moment, he saw what was happening on site or he got the call, he should have either aggressed onto the Dokkaebi or reverted back onto site, because when he came back onto site, he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, essentially his job was trying to prevent the flank up of those stairs, but the funny thing is that the attackers didn't actually require control of those stairs in order to execute their push. They were using the vertical play from underneath, so instead of it being Producer on the Vigil trying to deny that flank up the stairs, it was actually the Dockerby on the lower stairs denying Producer the flank down the stairs to deny the vertical play. So his position was essentially he outplayed himself in that position. He perfectly fell into the trap that Ferox had set up for him, and by the end of it, he didn't have any influence onto the onto the, I guess you could say, site control of the, the bomb site, and all of his teammates got taken down as anchors on the side of the bomb. So, a bit disappointing that he didn't manage to have much of an impact on that round, and once again, an attack win.
Congratulations, Producer. You played yourself.
We are going to be seeing Cura on the Valkyrie once again. I like this Valkyrie spot, so I'd rate that a solid 7 out of 10. It's something I use quite often. I'm not no Amphley though, so I can't really judge too much of these camp spots.
and flee the classic Valkyrie Spectator. Now Healthcare is going to do the exact same thing as he did the last time. Question is the caught out by it once again?
Yeah, this is a situation for me which is, you know, fool me once, shame on me, shame on you. You know, fool me twice, shame on me. I don't know, whatever that idiom is. But essentially, you shouldn't be able to do that twice. Producer's going to find an early kill into Rix. I really don't know how. I think that must have been a run out of some sorts. The Pulse somehow playing aggressive on the opposite side of the map to the bomb sites, and he's going to get punished. El Papazito's still on this roam, looking to potentially be the second victim of Producer.
Now, that was a very important kill. You take out the Pulse on a second floor bomb site defense. That means your vertical C4 pressure is absolutely gone right now. No information except from Kura, who does have a C4 and so does Tolji, but it's unlikely you're going to see the mirror rotate down.
We're just not seeing either of these teams proving themselves to be very proficient at defending this bomb site, especially in comparison to how good they both seem to be at attacking it. There's almost no contention of this VIP area, and as soon as that gets taken, it's the end of the story. So Healthcare is going to find another one with the OTS. I think that was through the skylights, and that was onto the roamer as well.
I'm not sure exactly what both teams are doing on defense, and Papazito, he's just roaming around here uncontested, yes, in the lobby, but he's not having much of an effect on the round either.
Ooh, is this going to be a... so Producer is going to be heading up the backside. He's got a lot of players to find. Told you, getting incredibly lit up. He still has his C4. He's going to toss it, try and deny the plant. Doesn't even find anything. Plant's going to go down. Red Sun on the window is going to take him down. 2 versus 4 in a retake situation. Zatosin trying to push into VIP, but there are so many players prepared for him. Can't find the first one. Shatsaram is going to kill him through the wall. El Papazito, what a shot! He's going to push through VIP right now, but there's too many to fight. 2 players inside of VIP, 1 player on the window outside, very safe. Red Sun finds another one from that position, takes him down, and yet another attack win. Who'da thunk it?
And strong attack win once again. That was 1v3 at the end. It was a 1v4 in the previous attack rounds, I believe. At least the first 2. So both these teams are great at attack. Their defense just isn't working out. And I think the team that goes to an off-bomb site the first is probably going to win it.
Look, these guys need to make some kind of adaptation, and I definitely agree with you. It needs to be changing up the bomb site. But no, Penthouse and Theater are going to be picked once again for Xavier. And the crazy, interesting, you know, problem-solving adaptation they're going to bring out is the Caveira. Now, you've talked about Xavier with their Caveira before. You said it works for them. I don't see it working for them here on Coastline. This isn't a map where the way that it's being played right now from the attackers, where, you know, they use a lot of the angles from outside and they just push the bomb site, it's not something that's going to make the difference. When you have teams who are pushing for map control and hunting roamers, that's when the Caveira is going to help. Or if you're on a completely different map where flank potential has, you know, there's so much more flank potential, but that's not really what Coastline is. This Caveira, in my eyes, is not going to help them.
Yeah, and last time it worked because SOTS were playing quite disjointed. They weren't following up in pairs to deny interrogation.
5 seconds to insertion.
For the refrags and what have you not. So I believe that Ferox, you know, they have definitely shown, especially on attack, both teams have shown that these guys can get the refrags that they need. They are very tight as a unit on attack, so I don't think the Caveira will work.
I'd love to be proved wrong, however. That's what I always say. You know, we make these really stark predictions, but I'd always love to be proved wrong. This is a run out from Red Sun. He goes all the way outside the main door. He gets taken down, though.
What?
Nothing pays out of it. I don't know what was happening there. Lycolas, why are you spotting on your own camera? I don't... Come on. Like, if I was playing ranked, I'd be scolding my teammates for spotting on that camera. It gets taken out. No longer does Lycolas have intel on the outside of the VIP balcony. He's already found 1 kill from it, but... Oh, and done a serious damage to Rix as well on the glass. Now, that's significant. It's the Hibana gone down as well. That's a little bit of the hard breach. However, Tolji has been demonstrating incredible proficiency on that thermite, whether as a fragging operator or whether as a... just in terms of, you know, the utility potential, been doing his job with it. So, oh, there's still a cam out there, though.
Still have the information, so it was not that big of a loss. And in fact, it actually could work really well in their favor because the attackers might be thinking, hey, the cam's down, but why are we still getting spotted?
Kura is completely aware of there being a cam. As you can see, he's been searching for it, and right now the entire of Ferox has gone into a very defensive stance. But no, Tolji is completely droned out Lycolis' position here. If Lycolis can even find a frag, this is going to be a miracle. Producer only has to land one shot to find the glass. He's going for the interrogation, but no, the Claymore is going to take them both down from Zatosin. That's a double kill, essentially, with one being a team kill. But on top of that, he denied the interrogation, so I'd say fair play.
That was actually a mistake that I did not expect Ferox to be making. The solo push that almost resulted in an interrogation, only saved by the claim.
Kura is going to be toying with death here, but that mirror is going to get completely taken down. But Chitsaru, he just pre-fires. Kura rocks straight into it. Healthcare is going to find one from his home. It's all up to Tolji now as he walks into Elysian Mine. Now, this has been one of the star fraggers for Ferox. Has been playing amazingly on this frag mine, but he has 3 to find. 45 seconds is plenty of time, but he has to turn this 1 versus 3 into 3 1 versus 1s, and he has to win every one of them.
Well, 2 of the defenders don't have too much of health, so that's 1 or 2 shots for either of them, and they will both be down for the count. Healthcare is the only one with full health, and he has expended every single one of his smoke grenades.
22 seconds, though. Tolji is just waiting for them to peek him, and they're not going to do that in this position. The mirror has been taken out, however, so that does give Tolji some advantage, but 15 seconds, you have to push this man. You're just delaying the inevitable at this point. Why are you putting a Claymore down? I don't understand. You have to push. There's no point saving the AWP. There's no point saving the 5.56. You're going to get taken down eventually. He got put into a 3-way crossfire, essentially. Managed to find healthcare. It didn't matter by the end of it.
Yeah, this position from Lycolis, no matter what happened, even if both the defenders lost their lives, the other 2 defenders, he would have still managed to get the frag because there was no way that the Thermite knew where Lycolis was playing.
Yeah, and that's why information is king, especially in a situation like that. In order to clutch that, Tolji would have required information on where all of the players were, especially that Valkyrie in the bathroom. Now, Tolji leading the way for his team with 7 kills at the moment on a support role is very impressive. I mentioned this before. Not only is that weapon on Thermite not one of the most powerful weapons on the attacking side, it's also the fact that he has that extra utility means that he's not allowed to play as aggressive, not allowed to try and go for those cheeky kills. He has to get his utility down. He's managed to do that every single round. And on top of that, he's been fragging out like crazy.
You know, I think this is it for Ferox Esports because they won Penthouse Theater finally with Xavier. Now they are on attack, which both teams have looked very strong on, except for the round that just concluded. And then finally Xavier are going to be going on to the off-bomb side, either Hookah Lounge or in Kitchen, or if they're really feeling up to it, the double bar.
So what you're saying is the one round where we were so sure Xavier weren't going to win the defense, bringing that Xavier, was the one where they actually won it. Can I get a Chancellor Palpatine ironic gif in chat? If only we could do that.
I mean, I told you, whenever I predict Asia mid-game, it never goes as what I say.
Southeast Asia does what Southeast Asia wants, my friend. One does not simply predict these guys. And, well, Xavier have been doing pretty well. I mean, I wouldn't say it was the Caviera who won that round by any means. In fact, the Caviera essentially got one injure and managed to, I guess, trade himself out with the Claymore kill onto the enemy, but let's not talk about that too much. Rick's once again going to be opening up this angle. I think there's a point in the game where you have to say, this long angle, especially since the defenders have no longer brought in the ACOGs, is only going to help the attackers. Don't make the angle, don't open it for them. If they want it, they can open it. If you have a spare reinforce, you can reinforce over it, but just stop putting it there. You don't need it, it's not helpful.
Now, I just want to talk about the Caviera just a bit more, and that was actually, you would say that's producer's fault. He got so eager, so excited, like, yes, I'm going to be getting an interrogation against a Pro League team. You could see that he immediately went for it without even checking if there was a second player nearby.
It's that reflection of one of the reasons why Xavier is not very strong in Pro League. It's because the team is so in sync and the communication level is very high that you can't risk taking that extra second. He had to go for it immediately in order to know that he would have enough time to pull off the interrogation. As a result, he didn't check for the Claymore and got taken down. Now that was just probably better in that position just to take the kill and run away with your life, but in the end it didn't matter, they won the round. Now Ferox have been the ones to take some, sustain the damage here. It's the Jaeger who's taken a few hits from the window. Now this position on the window that I believe Red Sun is playing currently has been doing so much. Red Sun...
Claymores!
The Claymore once again. Kira, at this point you can't allow that to happen.
And you know what's the oddest thing about this is that Kura during the regular season was by far and away the top fragger, and Chatsaran gets a second kill onto the Jaeger, finally finishing him off. But Kura, yeah, in the online season, he was an absolute force to be reckoned with. He almost brought Cryptic to their knees.
Only 2 players left for Ferox as Healthcare takes down Zatos, and Rix is going to get one onto Red Sun, but in this situation, 2 versus 4. Plant down, Producer finds Told You, it's all up to Rix. Now he's been doing pretty well so far on this mirror. He's gotten the first kill that's required, but he needs 4 more. This needs to be an ace clutch in order to close this out. 2 versus 3. There you go. Never mind, 2 to 4 now. Healthcare takes him down, and once again, an incredibly dominant attack ran onto Penthouse.
Yeah, so it seems that the mistake that Ferox did in the previous attack round, their attack round, could cost them the map and could cost them the series.
So at this point, all Xavier needs to do is just keep repeating the pattern. They can't actually defend the same bomb site now, of course, because they defended Penthouse and Theatre successfully. So you can see at the moment they haven't even selected which bomb site they want to go to. It's almost like, oh my goodness, we've played 6 rounds and we haven't even seen anything other than Penthouse Theatre. It's insane.
You won on Penthouse? Question?
They're gonna pick Kitchen and Service Entrance, which is what the bomb site that I had recommended. I personally think this is actually a very strong bomb site, as I guess the meta has developed on this map. This one has been seen to be more prevalent, and I guess that's because it's on the basement. You can set up some really nice mirrors, as you can see where Producer's putting himself a reinforce right now. Great mirror there, you can deny anyone coming through the service entrance. And on top of that, yes, there is vertical control, vertical play available onto the bomb site to deny a lot of the anchor positions. What you can do as defenders is do a hard hold up there. Chuck yourself a mirror inside of Theatre even. We've seen teams be very successful in doing that in the past, and it's one of the reasons why it just takes even longer for the attackers to take the map.
Indeed, and that is an odd deployable shield that blocked the entrance to the toilets, and there's the other one makes sense because that's blocking the angle from the drone hole.
Yeah, and that drone hole can be deadly.
Yeah, which I assume the smoke's gonna be playing there with a shotgun hole and then tossing those smokes up right there, but not too sure what the point of the other one is.
So that one, it was just in the doorway towards the lobby. It does give you a little bit more cover from the lobby. Now, there are typically a lot of angles that players from the lobby can utilize, but of course the lobby is going to be contested as well from a mirror window facing into it from inside of the service entrance side of the bomb site. So that's also going to help them protect from that. However, if Ferox do have any chance of taking this, it's going to be by pushing the top floor and then using vertical control downwards. They have the buck, so everything they could possibly want in terms of soft wall destruction. However, they're going to have to get up there and use it.
Yeah, and you can see how hard Xavier want that deployable shield blocking that drone hole up. They have 2 ADSs placed above it, so even if they burn one of the ADS with flashbangs, they might not realize it and then end up wasting a frag. Oh dear me. Papazito disconnects, and unfortunately, it is past the period where we can have a rehost in this very round. So unless Ferox wins this, that's gonna be it.
That's gotta sting. If you're Ferox at the moment, it's match point against you. You have to climb back on attacking a bomb site you haven't attacked just yet. You haven't even shaped up into taking the top floor. Why haven't they taken the top floor yet? I mean, yes, you lost your Ash, but at the moment... Okay, Cura is now taking the top floor. Told You is pushing in. I was a bit ahead of myself there. They are taking down... But they've lost a little bit of the soft breach from the Ash, the breaching rounds. They just have to rely on this buck now, and they need someone else up here with him to be utilizing those holes. It's not just he's only focusing on one angle at the moment. He has to open up even more of the floor.
Now Chitsaron has been taken down very low, under 25 HP, and he will be finished off by Zitosin, who does seem to take a lot of damage on his invisible rifle shield.
Glass is very transparent, my friend. Nonetheless, it's going to be Producer who's playing the smoke just inside, and he finds the kill on from Blackbeard. Rix is trying to find an angle through the drone hole, but of course that deployable shield is blocking the majority of his vision. Red Sun's going to find Kura. That is the Lion who's gone down. It's now up to Rix and Cholji. Now these two are the players who have been standing out the most for me on the Ferox side, and they do have some solid fragging ability in this Hibana and the Buck. But if they have to start finding these frags, there are 4 to find 25 seconds. It's not likely that this is going to be a plantable situation for them coming up very soon. Producer's still playing the smoke. Rix misses his shot, that reveals his position. Now he's lesioned. This is not going to look well. He takes out the lesion, but he's going to get re-peaked. Healthcare with the refrag. It's all up to Tolji. He's been an absolute fragger on Thermite, but does he have what it takes in 4 seconds to win a 1 versus 3? He's got gas to go through. At this point, Xavier could literally throw themselves at him, and it wouldn't make the difference. And saving the C8 is not going to make the difference. That's a 2-0 for Xavier. Ferox not able to do what's necessary and not take the win.
So you can see the moment they went onto the other bomb site, yes, it was helped by Papazito's disconnect, but they won that with pretty much consummate ease. If they had done that earlier, I mean, maybe we wouldn't even have got to 5-2.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I mean, unfortunate on the disconnect on the Ferox's side, but fairly even spread of kills across the board. Nothing really to say. Tolji really leading the way for his team, though. Unfortunate that the rest of his teammates couldn't contribute quite as many kills.
Yeah, that was just, unfortunate for Ferox's side, but they were lacking their IGL, so maybe that's kind of the reason it didn't go to the third map. But what a showing from Xavier Esports. These guys came up from Challenger League. Technically better than the Pro League teams that qualified through the open qualifiers before Season 7 started. But nonetheless, they're still a Challenger League team, and to come out like this and pretty much demolish the Pro League established teams, so one of them.
Here's a very brief recent history of the Southeast Asia Pro League. So it started off Season 7 with the Pro League qualifiers to see which teams would actually make it into Pro League. A lot of teams, namely Script, these were the really strong teams coming into that Pro League qualifiers. Then it comes to the last week of the qualifiers. A team called Xavier Esports signs up. No one's heard of them before, really. And they managed to absolutely demolish in this one Pro League qualifier cup. However, it's not enough to earn them a spot in Pro League, as they only competed in one of the Pro League tournaments. And just like that, they didn't earn their spot in Pro League. They got into Challenger League. Throughout the entire season of Challenger League, Xavier Esports are at the top and thriving. Coming into relegation, Xavier earned their spot in the Pro League, and now, not only that, they are at the 7th place in the Pro League. They're not at the bottom of the pack. They've already demonstrated they can put away Ferox Esports 2-0. What's ahead for Xavier coming into the rest of this Pro League season? It's anyone's guess.
I'm definitely very excited to see how they perform over the 14 games that are going to be played next season. And yes, it's 14 games because we'll be moving on to a league format. None of this bracket nonsense any longer, and I'm so happy for that.
Yes, I mean, Europe for a very long time have been a very big proponent of the most competitive formats. Now, particularly you've been talking about, double elimination over single elimination when it comes to Pro League playoffs and the big matches that contribute to who gets to go to a LAN event or who gets to go to the International Pro League finals. Double elimination is always more competitive. You always make sure that you get the best teams at the end. Because sometimes a team has a bad day. Sometimes you have the two best teams on the same side of the bracket, and not both of them can go to Cryptic. Poor Cryptic. Yeah, okay, Cryptic, obviously the number one team out of Southeast Asia. They, 2 times in both of the Pro League finals, for Season 6 and Season 7, they have had a lot of difficulty being on the same side of the brackets, and as the team who has made it to first place in APAC. But nonetheless, during out the regular season, we're going to have a double round robin format, which is going to be much more competitive than what we have seen in the past, with essentially a group stage, group playoff style Pro League format. So I'm personally very excited, and what that means is you're gonna get to see more and more matches from all of your favorite teams every week. Now, more details of that to come. up very shortly. Now, just to remind you, this is the APAC Pro League. We're talking about the Asia-Pacific region, wherein contains the sub-regions of SEA, that is Southeast Asia, that is what you have been watching today, ANZ, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and South Korea. And that's all going to be starting up very soon for Season 8. Xavier and Ferox going to be in there for Southeast Asia. But nonetheless, that's about all we've got for you today. We hope you guys tune in for the Season 8 of the Pro League starting very shortly in the coming weeks. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and see you guys. It's been a pleasure casting with you, Dev, who was filling in for the Russian Cthulhu. Remember, is casting with me. He's having his 22nd birthday. Happy birthday, Cthulhu.
Yeah, massive happy birthday to you, Cthulhu. And it's been a pleasure casting with you as well, Ewok. And to all our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Let's get this party.